Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, smashing every strong style, cinephile. We are at Batwoman Season 2, Episode 4, Batgirl Magic. And you can see what they did there because it's Batwoman and she's black now, so they took Black Girl Magic and replaced it with Bat. It's clever, those clever writers. But anyway, there's a lot of things that happened in this episode. Some things needed to happen, and I feel we took a huge step back for this series, for this season. Even just it makes it even more of a tragedy with what happened with the first season and Ruby Rose, quitting the show essentially and needing this replacement. She's here, and while we were taking some steps forward, now we're taking steps back. So let's geek about that for a scant few minutes. Now the show opens with Victor Zsasz, who's a hired gun in this, taking out a cheating husband and his mistress, and you can see how effective he is. The guy who they got for Victor Zsasz, I love him in this role. He just chewed up all the scenery that he was given. If he is brought back for another episode, I think one, I almost want to say two, but just one more, I would like it because I enjoyed what he was given here. Takes them out, takes somebody else out in this episode, and then we see him later. Now, with Ryan, we see her investigating a new drug that's going around the city, and we see that she's just not, while she wears the suit, it doesn't truly fit her. This brings up some issues with her and Luke, because Luke kind of sees also that the suit doesn't fit her. He still holds out hope for Kate coming back and just sees Ryan just wearing his friend's, clothing, and just doesn't really seem like he wants to get to know her as a friend, as a partner, as someone he's helping out in this crusade. He just wants it to be Kate again. He's in denial, holding out hope that she's out there. Mary, on the other hand, is pretty sure that she's not coming back, and she's just trying to deal with her grief in that regard and just kind of move forward. Luke is not ready to do that, so that kind of provides some clashes for them as they kind of go on these diverging paths of how they're dealing with Kate's overall disappearance. There's more news related to that, which we'll get to in a second. Sophie and Alice wake up on this island, which looks a lot like Lian Yu, the location is set for it. Maybe that's the only island that they have access to in the Arrowverse to film on. And we see that Sophia brought Alice there because she's mad at her for giving away the secret of this flower, this miracle cure-all flower that only grows on the island. If it gets out, Sophia thinks it'll be catastrophic to the island. Alice just wanted Sophia's attention to get to her and kill her for taking out Kate, thus robbing Alice of her chance at revenge on her sister. Turns out there was some miscommunication between the two. Now Sophia insists that she did not take out Kate, and then Alice says she did not spread the knowledge of the flower around the world to everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry. She only gave it to one person. That one person happens to be Mary. Thus, Victor Zsasz, who's working for Sophia, gets sent after Mary. In the first interaction that Zsasz has with Ryan, he points out the fact that she doesn't look like she's comfortable in the suit. It's not hers. She's not Batwoman at that point, which prompts Ryan to make some alterations to the suit, one of the things being the wig, and turns her into a more confident Batwoman. For the second time that she encounters Zsasz, they have a little fight, which is, I don't know, kind of stilted and just something about it. They just didn't flow with it. But she ends up taking him out, saving the day, and going about her business. Thus, that's the majority of the episode. Back on the island, we find out that Sophia wants to work with Alice to find out who is trying to play them against each other, and Sophia claims to have Kate, shows Alice this necklace and says that she has Kate. Kate is alive, Kate's out there. Alice wants to see her. Sophia's like, I'm not gonna have you two on the island at the same time. So once Alice and Sophie get drugged, taken back to Gotham, Sophia presumably brings Kate back to the island. And as we get like a little hint of Black Mask and his presence in the city, Sophie runs back, tells her boss that Kate just might be alive. And that's the problem that I have with this episode, because it's just, the issue we have with this episode is that Ruby Rose quit the show. So now there was either the idea of recasting her, or as they did, they just rebooted it with a different character in the suit. Fine, if you want to go that route, just stick to landing. It's just you have to have, understandably you had Ryan basically she's wearing somebody else's suit, so she doesn't truly feel comfortable with it because it's not made for her. So she makes the alterations to the suit. She makes it just more of her own so she can feel like she's Batwoman. Stuff like that. Stuff like Mary dealing with the fact that Kate is gone and never coming back, grieving in her own way. Luke being in denial, but ideally, kind of in a few episodes, realizing Kate's not coming back and just being able to move forward. All this stuff like that needs to be done so the show can move forward. The show can move forward because the show does not have Kate on it anymore. And yet we're thrown this curveball of a plot that says Kate is alive. So now she's going to be off screen, and it's like, okay, why not bring her back? If you're going to mention her, why not bring her back? Are you going to bring her back? Is she going to be, as I saw on some message boards before I started recording this, some people were speculating maybe she's going to get brainwashed and then be put against Ryan, and then she's going to end up being the big bad of the season. Ryan has to fight her, subdues her. Kate, happily passes the torch on to Ryan. But if that's the case, are you bringing back Ruby Rose for that? Is she coming back for that? Probably. If you couldn't even get her to do voiceovers for the letters, she's probably not going to come back to the show. She quit the show. She said deuces and just walked out. So do you want to bring her back? Do you want to bring whatever she's going through back to that environment? Is it going to screw up the flow? And if you're going to recast somebody to be Kate, why didn't you just recast in the first place and continue on with Kate after you built up all this Kate Crow stuff, Kate Alice, just personal intertwined relationships and stuff that were central to the plot? If you did all that in the first season, only to not have her in the second season, but then bring her a recasted Kate back, that's just so stupid. Like, this show was positioning itself to take steps forward, to leave Kate and Ruby Rose truly in the rear view, and now they've taken steps back to do. It's just remains to be seen how it all plays out. I understand that, but just you just want to withhold judgment until you see how everything plays out. But just to me, at this point, given what they put us through in the first season, the writers, the showrunner, and just how bad it was, it's just not looking good. And for this to have the specter of Kate now hanging over the show and the plot for this season, it just, why would they do that? Why would they shoot themselves in the foot like this? I don't know. It boggles my mind that they did this. It remains to be seen how it plays out. But for me, it's just another disappointment in the long line of disappointments from the show Batwoman, from the writers, from the showrunner, from the CW. It's just disappointment. And I just feel it's going to get worse from this point on. I hope I'm wrong, but given the track record we've seen of this show thus far, it's downhill from here. It's like a steep cliff. It's like a cliff, and it's just falling straight to the bottom. That's where we're at now. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. Talk to me there. Talk to me here. Can Batwoman get any worse? Yes, it can. And it is. Let us geek.